Welcome, everybody, to the 2025 NCAA Tournament Round of 32 post-game press conference. A couple of announcements before we get going. As a courtesy to your fellow media members, as well as the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. Please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conference. If you are joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and get to Zoom if time allows. Recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. We're joined by UCLA, head coach Corey Close, student athletes Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice. We'll begin with the opening statement from Coach.
I really want to thank the coaching staff of Richmond. I'm not sure, number one, I'm not sure I could respect how they play anymore. I knew this was going to be a really tough game, and this really challenges how we like to play, and they spread you out, and they shoot it so well, and they're very selfless, and I just think they're a great team. But I also have to say today, there's nothing like having comrades in this business that you have alignment of purpose. And I may have had one of my most encouraging conversations with their head coach this morning. And I just want to give so much credit to him. And he gave to me. He filled my cup today. And at the same time, he was such an awesome competitor. And, you know, you Richmond folks, you got a special one. And so just lots of credit to them. And, boy, are they a good team. So they really stretched us, and like I said, but really proud of our defensive response. We had too many mistakes of how we were guarding certain things in the first half, and they were hot. And that combination was tough for us. But loved our response on defense in that third quarter. I just thought the intensity was so much better. We made some slight adjustments on about 3 different actions out of halftime, and they adjusted to all of them. And I just loved the crowd, how they got behind that intensity, and I thought that was a really big deal. We needed that energy, and for them to just get so excited about how we were defending made all the difference in the world. Really proud of 2 things from our team, our selflessness and our commitment to our defense. Those 2 things I thought carried us, and that's the kind of thing you need. It's going to be somebody different all the time, and obviously their statistical lines were ridiculous. But in our locker room, we called out people like Kendall, who had all assists and rebounds and was so efficient in a spark in 12 minutes of play. Elena, for how she came in and gave London some breather and moved her feet on the defensive end and kept up the pressure. Janiyah, 4 assists, 0 turnovers, 8 rebounds. Like, it's all those other people. We have 2 big dogs up here, and they do so much for us. But they know that it's our team that matters and the selflessness and work ethic that goes along with it. So, thankful.
Questions for the student athletes? Please address the student athlete or athletes when you ask your question, please.
Tuknina Win with the LA Times, I guess for either of you, Kiki or Lauren. Corey was just mentioning the crowd. What did the crowd feel like and sound like to you, especially in that third quarter? Like, after London hit that 3, it seemed like it was just like the roof was about to come off.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of my favorite crowds that I played in front of at Pauley. Just their energy and really how they carried us, especially in that third quarter, to bring, kind of bring us that extra boost. We really appreciated that. And given that it's spring break right now, there's not a ton of students on campus. It's just so, it means so much to us for so many people to show up. And, obviously it's LA, there's so many other things to do. It's a beautiful weekend, but, people were here in the gym watching us. So that was really fun.
Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. Lauren, at the end of the third quarter, I thought you were going to knock over Kendall with how excited you were when you went over to her. What were you feeling in that moment? Like, what was sort of going through your head after what you guys had just done those previous 10 minutes?
Yeah, I'm just so proud of Kendall. I love her so much. She's just like one of the most positive people you'll ever meet. And being a freshman on this team is not easy, but she just continues to work and just, do what she needs to do to help the team. And so in that moment, I just felt so proud of her because, through how hard it is throughout the season, she just continues to just contribute in any way that she can. So I'm just, really thankful that she's on this team.
Lauren, LT Ulis with TT Sports, TV1. The other day we talked about defense. You talked about also about taking care of the basketball, and also you mentioned that everybody contributes. What was it like to see that tonight? All those things you talked about came into fruition tonight.
Yeah, I'm just super proud of my teammates. I thought, that second half we really turned it around. I think we just changed our mentality defensively. We wanted to get stops, and we over-communicated, and we had each other's back, and we played as a unit, and that's what's most important. And I think everybody individually just stepped up and did what they need to do. And I think if we just continue to do that, we're going to be in a really good position. But I'm just really proud of everybody today.
Mike Regalado, Bruin Report. Lauren, Michael Thompson, famous Laker and broadcaster, tweeted out that the top 3 UCLA centers are number 1 Kareem, number 2 Bill Walton, and number 3 Lauren Betts. What are your initial thoughts on that?
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't really have any other words. That's just crazy. Thank you. Wow. My goodness.
Dennis Freeman, News for Us Online. This question is for Kiki. What was the team's mindset going into that third quarter?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, we've been in this really similar position last year with Creighton. I think we were down at halftime last year, so kind of this is something we're used to. And I think just coming out there and playing our game, making the adjustments we needed to defensively and offensively. But I think our belief in our motivation never wavered, which is something I'm really proud of this group. We were really positive in the locker room, continued to build each other up, tell each other what we needed from each other, and it worked.
Charlotte Moore, FI 360 News. Questions for Kiki. You came out on the third quarter hitting a whole bunch of threes. I think you had 4. What was your mindset about being more aggressive from the three-point line?
Yeah, I mean, I think just taking the shots when they're open. I get a lot of catch-and-shoot threes because a lot of teams send a lot of bodies to Lauren and to our post and everything. So just being ready to take those, knock them down, and shoot it with confidence. I work on it a lot, so just got to continue to show it.
Hi, Lauren and Kiki. Michelle Smith from The Next. It's nice to be comfortable in a game, but these couple of games where you've been pushed so far in the tournament, how valuable is that for what the next 4 games hold?
Yeah, no, like you said, basically we're just going to need it moving forward. I think that, grit, especially in March Madness, is super important. And I think just like the over-communication, making sure we hold each other accountable in timeouts, that's going to be super important moving forward. And I think, these past 2 games, like Coach Corey has held us accountable, and she's not changing the standards. So if you're not doing what you need to do, you're going to come out. And I think that's just going to push us individually to make sure that when we're on the floor, we do what we need to do to win. So.
Haley Sawyer, SoCal News Group. You guys had 5 turnovers as an entire team today in the entire game. So what allowed you to take care of the ball so well tonight, for whoever wants to answer?
Yeah. 25 assists.
That was something we were very proud of in the locker room. I mean, I think just our focus on that this week in preparation and in practice, taking care of the ball. We haven't been happy with the amount of turnovers that we've had in past few games. So as guards, that's on us to really, find the right people, put everyone in good positions. And we watched film on that yesterday, and we saw us turning the ball over, and we didn't want that again. So I was really happy with how everyone just made smart decisions and took care of the ball.
Dimitri Dorlis, the Mighty Bruin. For Lauren, Kiki had 23 points, 7 assists, only 1 turnover, as I'm sure Coach Close would love me to throw in there. How easy does it make it for you and the rest of the team when Kiki is just on that level where she is just so dominant running the offense, knowing when to push it, when to pull things back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm just super thankful that Kiki's my teammate and I don't have to play against her. She's just, I call her like the point god. She just like is she's really like that girl. I mean, I just trust her so much, and I just know that she's going to make the right decision at the end of the day, and I'm just so proud of her because she continues to work her butt off every single day, and that's just who she is and what she brings to this team. And tonight, like, I'm just honestly, like, other than like the assists and the non-turnovers, I'm just proud that she was confident in her shot today. I just thought that was super cool to see, like, especially on the kickouts. Like, I was just like, yes, Kiki, like, shoot it every single time. But no, I'm just, just super grateful that I get to be her teammate, and I just know moving forward we're going to continue to do great things. So.
Joe Pachowski, Mighty Bruin. Lauren, you actually had 9 offensive rebounds, which actually outnumbered the offensive rebounds that the entire Richmond team had. You guys as a team had 27 second chance points. How big was the offensive rebounding tonight for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's super important. I think it started with, making or taking good shots. I think offensively, when we force really tough shots, that's when we don't get in the right position to create those offensive rebounds. So I think tonight we just made the right decision with the ball, and I was just, there to basically just clean up the mess whenever I need to. But I just think offensively that kind of, ignited my rebounding today. So.
Kiki, this is Miriam Swanson in the Southern California News Group. I wanted to ask you about that Michael Thompson tweet and sort of just what it's like to be out there playing with like an all-timer here at UCLA.
Yeah, it makes life easy. No, I think as a point guard, knowing that I can throw the ball up to Lauren, I think one of the best things about her is her hands and how she catches every pass. I think I threw her a lob one time. Wasn't a great pass, but she caught the ball. Probably would have had another turnover if she didn't have the amazing hands that she does. But I think Lauren just makes the game easy for everyone on this team. And I think her ability to shoulder so much weight and just do that on a consistent basis and show up for us every single day is something we really admire. So just love playing with her, and she's only getting better.
We have time for one more question for the student athletes, if there is one. Thank you, student athletes. You are dismissed.
Thank you.
Questions for Coach?
Took me in with the LA Times, Corey. When Kiki's shooting like that, how much does that change what you guys can do on offense, and how have you seen her comfort grow shooting that specific shot?
Well, and it's interesting. The numbers, we chart every single one of those in practice every day, and her numbers are ridiculous. It just has to do with that she's got to believe it and think, I'm a shooter. So when that ball gets kicked out, it's really a mental thing. It's not just a shooting thing. She's been shooting like that all throughout the off season. She worked on it throughout every practice, and we've several times brought her in and said, look, when you catch and shoot first, your numbers are so good, you got to do it more. And she actually gets taken out if she doesn't shoot it. And so it's not surprising to us. She's just showing it more. We always say the work done in the dark gets revealed in the light, and I'd say the light was pretty bright on her shot tonight.
Coach, Jack Haslett from the Sporting Tribune. Maggie Dugan certainly had a hot hand, especially in the first half.
So good.
And then just to contain her to just 2 points in the third, I mean, what adjustments were made in the locker room at the half to contain her?
Well, all of her threes, she would try to drive on Lauren. Lauren would cut her off, and then she would retreat dribble, and Lauren wasn't taking up the slack. And at halftime, I told Lauren, we tried to get her on 25 more, but we knew with all of their screens that she was going to get on her eventually. And I just told her, you're not the National Defensive Player of the Year candidate for just in the post. You are really good on the perimeter. And when she retreats, you go with her. And just really talking about taking up the slack. And I'm just like, she can't get by you to the rim. You will guard her. But nobody can help you if you don't get out to the three. And just really challenged her to play perimeter defense that way. But I also thought our other four players, I thought Janiyah did a really good job. I thought she came in. I thought Tamia, our ability to rotate big threes, fours, and Tamia Gardner and Angela Dugulich and Janiyah Barker. I thought that was a really important piece too, because we could just throw bodies at her over and over again with length over time. But she is a really good player, and she definitely caused us to make some adjustments at halftime.
Mike Rigolato, Bruin Report. Coach, back to the Sweet 16, third year in a row, 7th in 9 years. What does it mean to you and to this program to be able to accomplish that?
Well, I think, it's one thing to, get to certain points of elite, excellence. And I think, being Sweet 16 and higher it's really how you're judged if you want to be an elite basketball program. But I think it's sustained excellence. And I think we're making steps of that. That's just an expectation. And we're going to have habits that lead us to those places. And now we got to push the envelope, though I'm only thinking 1-0. So I won't talk about, past that. But I think I'm most proud of a staff that always holds the standard. I'm most proud of young women who don't want to just be pushed to be an elite basketball program, but they want to be elite people, and they want to use this to be championship level women. And so I think it's a part of our program. It's not the only part of our program, but we're pretty driven to be an elite basketball team. So to have that sustained excellence is a good step in the right direction.
Dennis Freeman, News for Us Online. Coach, how big were the points off of turnovers tonight?
Well, I think it all contributed, right? You're talking about the offensive rebounding contributed, but I think causing those turnovers, us not turning it over, we've been telling our team, our percentages when we get quality shots are elite. And so really the missing link was just taking care of the ball. But when you turn them over, it makes that shot selection even easier. And we're able to attack in transition. We're able to attack before they're able to establish their help side defense or their double team rotations, their zone and the way that they played a lot in the second half. And so it's huge, but it all fits together. It's all a possessions game, right? So if we don't turn it over, we control rebounds, we get extra possessions by getting out of area rebounds. It all fits in, and if we're able to get more shots, quality shots than our opponents, we're going to have a pretty good chance to win.
Charlotte Moore, FI 360 News. Coach, you called a timeout when you were up 17. It looks like they scored back-to-back with Dewey and Dugan.
Yeah, back-to-back threes. That's the key factor.
Right. So with that, what was your concern going into the game, and was that part of the reason why you called the timeout going in?
Number one key on the scouting report was, pressuring the ball and running them off the three-point line. And we didn't think that if they had to shoot hard twos most of the night that they were going to have enough to beat us. But if they're able to get threes and we're trading with twos, that was not a good recipe for us. And so when they scored those back-to-back threes, we needed to address that right away. And credit to them. I mean, they outscored us in the fourth quarter. We gave up 24 points. And so, as great as a lot of things were, that we got to continue to push the envelope of not giving away those possessions or have those mental breakdowns where you're not doing your job. And that's really the bottom line, is execute the scouting report and do your job.
Over here, Pauley, you get at ESPN. Corey, you've had to say, not had to, but you've said a lot of praise for Lauren over the course of the season, understandably. But what can you say about a performance like the one she had tonight in a game like this one?
Well, Lauren, heck, we've already said she's the third best center, male or female, in UCLA history. So, but, she's an absolute generational player. And she is not 6'7", just a low post player. Watch her move out there. The way that she guarded and switched, and even when she made some mistakes, the way that she chased people at 6'7", and she's really 6'8" too, by the way. But she's just, an elite player. She has a basketball IQ. She's incredibly competitive. She affects the game in so many ways on both offense and defense. The list goes on and on. It's just the scouting report sort of starts with Lauren every time, and so it's a really almost impossible task. And our other players are the beneficiary of the attention that she draws every single night. But I have to say, I might be more proud of her courage to share her story. And, several articles that have come out in the last few weeks about who she is as a young woman, is that the biggest difference you're seeing in her performance out there is that she doesn't only see herself as a basketball player anymore. And she talks a lot about being a daughter and a sister and her interests outside of basketball. And because of that, because her identity is not only as a basketball player anymore, she's actually freed up to master her craft at a different level. But that took courage to share her story. And I'm as proud of that as I am about her performance on the hardwood tonight.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Coach over here. How much Ole Miss have you had the opportunity to watch this season, and how quick does your focus have to shift?
Well, I have to shift immediately, but we're planning ahead all the time. But we have actually watched Ole Miss a lot because Christine Iwala is on our team, and we love her. And even though she used to be a Bruin, but we're Wally fans, as we call her, and we just think she's spectacular. So we've tuned in as a team to a lot of games, starting with in Paris at the very beginning of the year. So I've watched actually them a lot. And, they are one of the best defensive teams in the country. They're extremely physical. It's going to be a grinded-out kind of game, and we have a lot of respect for how they defend. In fact, in our staff meetings all the time, Coach Tasha Brown would say, well, if we were Ole Miss, we'd be defending like this, this, and this. If I had $1 for every time she said that. So we're going to have to, get our act together for the Sweet 16 game. But we've been preparing all the way. We've charted this out of what that looks like, and so we'll be ready. But Coach Yo's done a great job with her team, and we absolutely cheer for Wally every game leading up to this, except for on Friday.
Last question.
Haley Sawyer, SoCal News Group.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Haley. Sorry.
Yeah. Janiyah had limited minutes in that second quarter. It looked like she might have been in pain at some point. Do you have any health updates for her?
She's fine. She was overheating. That's the official word. So they just said, hey, give her a second. Let's get to halftime, and she'll be fine. So nothing serious. So she's good.
Thank you for your time, Coach. We
Yep.
have 10 more minutes left of open locker room for UCLA. We have to get Richmond in here, too. So
And just huge, you guys keep following this game, and just a big piece. My mother, who's sitting over here, said we were looking at the paper and all of social media and all the things, and women's basketball was dominating the media space today. And I, to you, say thank you for that. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you.
We are now joined by Richmond. Head coach Aaron Roussel and student athletes Maggie Dugan and Addie Budnick will begin with the opening statement from Coach.
First off, I want to thank everybody associated with NCAA committee, everybody that set this up. I thought everything that ran through this for our team and for this department through this tournament was top-notch. Kids had an amazing experience, felt big time. Everything was awesome. So to everybody, NCAA and UCLA, I think y'all knocked this out of the park and gave us an amazing experience. So very grateful for that. Hats off to Corey and to her team. You know, I think for them to play as well as they did today, and for us to still play really well and make it a game, and it was a game. You know, we'll get to our kids here, but I give a huge credit to UCLA. That's a very, very good team. That they had a lot of pressure. You know, would have liked them to have an off night and go the other way, and they didn't. So I think they're a very talented team. Corey's done an amazing job over the years, very grateful, and her kindness to all the other coaches out there. So proud of them, happy for them, but first and foremost for me, very proud of our group. You know, that was thinking about the last 2 weeks and probably even more than that, the number of times I've thought about having to say goodbye to this group was hard, emotional with myself and probably with some select others. Just could not imagine having to say goodbye. But holding it together in the locker room, I think a huge part of that was just how our kids persevered and played this weekend. You know, that Friday night win, to have the first ever win for our program in program history, for these guys to have that experience Friday night, to celebrate that the way they did, for them to have this memory as a group together for the rest of our lives, I think probably take some of the sting out of it tonight. But even on top of Friday, and you can do the coach thing, right, of like, hey, just take the third quarter away, but like that's the God's honest truth. Like our kids battled tonight. Like they belonged on the floor with the best team in the country, #1 team in the country tonight. We said this, and as painful as it kind of felt and looked, optics was, you're right over there? Okay. All right. I think from the optics of it, right, you're going through that second quarter and first half, and it's Lauren Betts getting a lot of points, Lauren Betts getting a lot of rebounds. I felt we weirdly could withstand that if they weren't making threes. And then that three-point barrage happened in the third quarter, and she was still getting what she got. And then on top of that, the other kids were making threes. And we didn't, right? Like, I thought we played really well. I thought offensively we got a lot of great shots. Missed some layups, missed some threes. Like, that stuff happens. It just seemed to coincide with those guys kind of playing at their best in the third quarter. So tonight aside, I could not be more grateful to these guys for allowing me to be a part of this. And when I say these guys, there's a lot of others too, right? Our department, our administration, the pictures I saw from everybody back home on Friday night, the communication I've gotten, pictures I've gotten from all across the country, like Spider Country, Spider Nation. This was awesome, you know, and there's more of this to come. So thank you.
Questions for the student athletes first?
Hi, I'm Charlotte Moore, FI 360 News. This question is for Maggie. Maggie, you had a great game against Lauren, especially in the first two quarters. You definitely picked which shots you wanted to take. What was the breakdown, though, in the third quarter when they held you to like 2 points for the first 6 minutes?
I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to them. They're a very athletic, very disciplined basketball team. I mean, I got hot early, and they adjusted at halftime and only held me to 2 points in that third quarter. So, I mean, a lot of credit to them. I think we got stagnant a little bit in the third quarter, but that was just us not making shots and them making shots. And, I mean, it happens. It's basketball. It's a game of runs, so can't think about that one too much, and you just got to keep moving on and take the next possession.
Thank you.
Dimitri Dorlis, the Mighty Bruin. For Maggie and Addie, even despite like the length and Lauren Betts just going for 30 points, you guys only were outscored by 2 in the paint. And I think offensively, you guys found a lot of holes in the UCLA defense that you were able to exploit. Do you want to talk about that? And kind of, was that something you saw in film, or is that something more that was faith in your offensive system?
I mean, they were pressuring us a lot, and they were also switching and taking away the arc, so we knew that the post was going to be open. We're not necessarily posting up bets down there. We don't really have an advantage, but we knew that was going to be open. I think we did a good job cutting, moving the ball. Mary did a good job attacking the post, too, at the beginning. So that's just how we play. When we move the ball and the post is open, we're going to get those cuts. We're going to finish around the basket.
I mean, she's an All-American for a reason, but I think to say that we were only outscored in the paint by 2 points is a pretty cool stat.
This question is for you, Maggie. LT Wilson, TT Sports, TV1. You guys have set the bar for your program, the fact that you got the first win for your program. Do you feel the same way now that you expect to see other Richmond teams make it to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really cool thing. I don't think it's really sunk in yet what that means to the school and to all of us and, the university as a whole. I think that this definitely sets a standard for where we want to be in the future. I think this is definitely a goal that everybody in this program, even when I'm gone and Addie's gone, this should be a goal that everybody wants to, get to. You don't see mid-majors coming in and making it past the first round very often, so I think that was really cool and definitely just showed what we are and what we're capable of. So I'm very proud of everybody. Mm-hmm.
Hey, ladies. Miriam Swanson, Orange County Register. Congratulations, first of all. And I just wanted to ask, what was the experience like playing against Lauren, a player like that?
She was really good. We really didn't have an answer for her. Obviously, she had a huge size advantage on us, but like Maggie was saying, she's an All-American for a reason. She's really good. It's really tough to guard her down there. If you front it, she's going to throw it over you. If you're behind, she's going to bury you. So she really took advantage of that, and she had a hell of a night, and I'm sure she's gonna continue to do that throughout the tournament.
Yeah. Any more questions in the room? We do have one question on Zoom from Natalie. A reminder to mute yourself.
Hi, Natalie Heverin with The Next. For Addie, what have the last 5 seasons at Richmond meant to you? And for Maggie, what has Addie meant to you and the program in your time here?
It's been a great 5 years. It's been incredible to just represent this university and play with people I love. I couldn't imagine it any other way, especially getting to this stage. Obviously, we lost, but I'm so proud of this group, and this program means everything to me. So I'm excited to watch from the stands next year and just see where else this program goes. I know that this is not the limit, so hopefully they can make it to the Sweet 16 next year. Just keep building from there.
I don't know if I could really put into words what Addie's meant to me these past couple years. I'm so thankful and grateful that she decided to come back for her 5th year, giving me one more year to play with her, selfishly said, but she's held me accountable when I needed it. She's encouraged me when I needed it. She's just a 1 in a million teammate. I don't know what I'm going to do without her next year. But yeah, she's one of a kind, and I couldn't be more grateful and honored to play aside her these past 3 years.
Any last questions for the players? Student athletes, you're dismissed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Questions for Coach?
Hi, Coach. This is Charlotte with FI 360 News. Coach Close was very praising of what conversation you guys had earlier today, and she talked about having good colleagues. Would you care to share just what you poured into her, or what you might have said that you couldn't share with us?
Yeah, I'll say this. I think obviously when you're coaching at the levels that I've been at, right, at Division III, the Patriot League now here, and I think starting to be able to compete with some higher levels. I think we go about this in a way that we think is the right way to do it. I have no idea how predominant that is at the higher levels. I don't know, and I'm not making any accusations, but I'm very proud of how our administration handles things, how our players handle things, and from afar, I think I've always thought that Corey does that exceptionally well. And so my conversation with her was just an admiration, maybe hopefully turned into a mutual respect, but just admiration for how she carries herself, handles her program. But probably just more so, and again, I can't even say young anymore because I think, you're getting a little bit older now, but, coming into this profession at the levels I've been at, you're always trying to find people that you feel like do it the right way. And for her to have the success and be the National Coach of the Year, I think is a cool thing. She's given back to young coaches a lot. That's kind of been her thing. She's she's given. She's a giver. She's seemingly kind of the first one to step up and give back, and I wanted her to know that that was noticed and appreciated.
Any more questions for Coach?
Haley Sawyer, SoCal News Group. I'm sure you expected UCLA to try and chase you off the three-point line tonight. So when that happened, what were some of the in-game adjustments that you guys tried to make, and how did the team respond to those?
Well, it's not the first time that it's happened. So I think maybe there's a little bit of, we can go back to our experiences throughout the year. Obviously when you shoot the way that we do, and especially early in the season, we were putting up some numbers, and things were going really well, and then people start to take some things away from you. For us, it's knowing that you're still going to get stuff at the basket. I think we'll be the first to tell you as a staff, everybody looks at the three-point shooting, but we're a program that's looking for the exact opposite. We're trying to puncture the paint. We're trying to get stuff at the basket, and hopefully those three-point shots come from that. So I think it was the right game plan. I don't think there's anything with that, but I felt like we were still scoring, and I think that was the big thing for us is let's get easy baskets. If they're going to take away the arc, they're going to have to exert a lot of effort. I commend Lauren Betts, man. I think just catching her, she's first off an amazing young woman, but was applauding her for her efforts today. And I think our goal was just like, I was hoping she'd get a little tired. And to her credit, maybe she did, but she didn't show it. I think some of that today was there's only so much you can do from a defensive standpoint, right? There's only so much you can do when you're forcing a miss, and she still goes and gets it. But I think she said that's the most insane defense I've ever had to play, chasing it. So I think that was our goal. It just didn't always result, and I think that's more of a credit to them and how hard they played today, because I think when we are able to do that to other teams, you see that on the offensive end, and it drains people. They have some depth, which was helpful. Them playing for what they're probably playing for here over the next couple of weeks probably drove them and was reminded of them at halftime. But I think our players did that really well. I think we found the holes in the paint. We still scored. I think somebody said it here, but for as much as Lauren Betts did in the first half, we were outscoring them 20-16, I think, in the paint the first half. I still say that the story of it, and as painful as it was to watch her, gobble up every rebound and have the numbers that she did, I still thought we could survive everything except for the arc, right? We knew they were going to take away the arc. We had to make some gambles to take away the inside, which opened some things at the arc. So it was one of those, they're taking away the three, we're giving you some, but we still had to win the arc. That's an uncomfortable position to be, and I think that was probably more so that the tail of the tape lies there. You don't want to get outscored 27-6 on second chance points, so maybe that's another storyline. But I thought our effort was there. She's really good.
Dimitri Dorlis, the Mighty Bruin. Coach, to kind of follow up on that, we talked a lot about how Lauren Betts was able to score, but even outside Lauren Betts, they only had about 8 points in the paint comparatively. Can you go into more detail kind of how you were looking to defend all that? Because it looked like even when Betts was getting the ball, you were throwing multiple defenders at her and just trying to get the ball out of her hands as quickly as possible.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think, when we're trying to collapse a little bit and take away the paint, that also doubles to take away some penetration spots. Kiki Rice is an incredible athlete, incredible player. They're doing this right. So when I say this, they're doing this right. They're doing everything. They play off of Lauren. Like, those kids are really good. They know what they are. But obviously when you're centering your offense around somebody in the paint, it is hard for others to get into the paint and score. So I think that's the nature of their offense. I don't think they did it wrong today because the other kids weren't scoring in the paint. I'm guessing that's kind of how it happens, right? She's got her stuff there at the basket. Her defender's going to be around the basket, so maybe isn't as much room to navigate for other people. But I thought the other kids got some offensive rebounds, putbacks when time was big. Some transition stuff. I mean, Kiki still got to the basket. I mean, there was still some pretty strong takes to the basket. So I thought we did it well. We just had to not give up the threes, and I think some of that was some late rotations. Some of that was some gambles. Some of that was water finds its level. They're good shooters. They're going to make some of those. We knew that was going to happen. It was the perfect storm for them. They played really well. They got what they got at the basket. They got enough at the arc, and that's hard to chase that number when they're putting up 84.
Blake McCormick, Richmond Athletics. Coach, just the journey for you to this point and seeing, this group develop, how fun has it been to take this team to this journey and making Richmond history?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the history part is what's cool. You don't do this for other people outside the program necessarily, but seeing the groundswell of people that really paid attention to Richmond women's basketball this year was pretty awesome, right? You don't do it for that, but that's been great. I think you have a group, and I think that came across of how much pride they have in the program, but how much pride they have in the university, how much they've enjoyed being a part of the build, and how much pride they have in what's going to happen for Addie, what's going to happen after this. Even talking to their parents out there, like they were a part of building this, right? And so now the next group is a part of spreading their wings and doing this even more. I think there's still other goals out there. Just because this was the first time we won a tournament game doesn't mean this has to be Apex Mountain, right? I think we can build off of that. I think 2 years ago, everybody thought, hey, this is a great season. And well, no, but we've gotten better every year that we've been here. And so I still think, hate to think about pressure because obviously there's some pressure this year, but, I think we've established kind of what we are and we've established expectations. Forever be grateful that this group exceeded and continued to build, but the two things I'm most grateful for is just the experience I got to have with these kids. They're amazing, amazing young women. I said this Friday, and I hope this comes across as a positive, but the disappointment that we had drove what happened this weekend. But the fact that we were able to have Friday and Sunday is what this team deserved. They deserve to have the adulation. They deserve to have the experience. They deserve to have the forever moment that they will think about this at every wedding, every reunion, everything else, that this team had this. And hopefully they're going to Sweet 16s to cheer on the next group that does it, but they're going to feel that they were a part of this. And that's all you ask for, right? Is an amazing experience for the kids you're coaching.
Any more questions in the room? We'll go to Natalie on Zoom.
Natalie Heverin with the Next. Can you just talk about the impact of the seniors, whether it's Addie, who came in during COVID and has been with you for 5 seasons, the seniors that came in 2021, or the grad transfers that you have?
And sorry, Natalie, I heard the first part of impact of Addie and through COVID. I don't want to not
sorry.
answer.
To players that came in 2021, and then all of your grad transfers as well.
Yeah, I mean that's the hard part of all of this, right? Is obviously it ends, and probably the emotion that I've felt is, having to say goodbye to Addie Budnick for everything that she's done for me and for our program. So that was always going to be hard. Very grateful, as I said, for what she's done. But there's 5 others that probably played their last college basketball game today. Who knows with NCAA and everything else, but probably played their last college basketball game. Some of those kids I knew for 9 months, man. It doesn't mean that doesn't have an impact on my life, and it didn't mean that they, Allie Jimenez was I think she committed to us at the end of May. There's a room full of her teammates that know that none of this works without Allie J being a part of this. So Addie knows that. So I think there's just a gratefulness that, college basketball's changed, okay, whatever, but proud of Addie, experience with Addie, Katie, all of this. Anna Camden came back from a gruesome injury, and none of this works without them. Steph Oderkirk was an important part of what we did, Faith Alston, the history I have with her and getting to coach her, that's the hard part. But I think, as I said earlier, the sting goes away a little bit because of what we now have after this weekend. So grateful for them. Natalie, again, we've talked about Addie for probably 5 years, right? And so she's a special one. Maggie said it. She's one of one with regard to teammates and so many other things. But room full of grateful people. But I know in this room, back home, everybody that's associated with Richmond, Addie's made a huge impact on their life and on the university.
One there, unless you have any last closing remarks, Coach.
No, I mean, again, I just very grateful for this group. Held it together in the locker room. Commend myself for that. Didn't see that one coming. But I'm one lucky coach, man. I am one lucky coach. So very grateful.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.